We're now well over a year from the original closure of the Bankstown Line for conversion to Sydney Metro, and it's now time to take a look and see what they've done over the past year, and an update on a major milestone that they just achieved the other day. In this video today, we'll be taking a look at photos and videos shared of testing along the line, as well as construction updates and everything you need to know about the Bankstown Line in November of 2025, and when it may open. Moving on to train testing, metro services can now run up to 25 km per hour, and although to many that may not sound like much, compared to the 5 km per hour that was running on the first night of testing, which I happen to record, which is on the top right of the screen, it is a pretty big improvement. At the moment, there are currently 2 metro trains that are retrofitted to test along the Bankstown Line, with services operating normally every single day, on weekdays only, between Marrickville and Bankstown. We are still yet to see frequent testing of the line between Marrickville and Sydenham, as majority of the time it is still fenced off. Seen in these videos here is a bit of the interior of the train whilst travelling along the line, and I must say I cannot wait to ride on the Sydney Metro trains on the Bankstown Line in hopefully just the coming months, but we'll talk about an opening date later in the video. They've also fitted out both metro trains with testing gear, which is to help measure the tracks, make sure that they're smooth enough, obstructions, and much more, as seen in these videos here, and how they'll often inspect them quite a lot and also go on the track, which is pretty cool, as many know, you can't exactly get on a Sydney Metro track that easy. As there is no information available to the public at this time, based off my estimations and with how fast they're going with testing, I would say that by January or February 2026 we should start to see more metro trains testing along the line, and I'd say the first driverless service would probably be around February or March of 2026, with frequent metro testing operating along the whole line from the existing Northwest and City line through to Bankstown, hopefully happening towards the middle of next year. And in regards to an opening date, I reckon around September or maybe even October or November of 2026, so roughly another year. Although it's quite frustrating how they have delayed it once again and how it is taking longer than expected, at least they are finally getting the work done after for many months the line was paused with testing as they found many problems with power supply. However, even though they haven't released any information to the public, it does appear that they have fixed these issues, as we're now seeing more frequent metro testing throughout the week. Moving on to all the metro stations, nothing much has really changed again except for Bankstown, as basically every single station from Punchbowl through to Marrickville is about 90% complete, with minor work still to be done, such as touching up the stations and fixing defects. That, however, usually happens in the final months of testing before the line opens, and at Bankstown is still where we're seeing the most work. However, it does appear that they're starting to do some landscaping work. However, there are no photos and videos that have been provided online of the recent few weeks of the station. However, as seen in these videos here, this is in around July or August of 2025. So you can obviously expect that some more work has been complete since these videos here, but you get the idea that Bankstown is coming along really well. A lot of signage is coming up, lighting is now starting to go up, and we should hopefully see the new nature strip with some new trees and other plants spread across the middle of the walkway between the Sydney train station entrance and the Sydney Metro station entrance come up in the next few weeks or months. So that is quite exciting to see how they are getting close. And I do wonder if they will open up the new walkway that is between the two entrances before the new line opens, meaning we can get a better look inside the new metro station. And as well, I'm sure we'll have some open days just like we did with the City line in the coming months, once the stations have been completed further and testing is continuing well along the line. Summing it all up, progress has been quite slow along the Bankstown line for the metro conversion. However, it is looking hopeful that we are starting to see a bit of a pickup in speed on the upgrade of the line, and hopefully we should start to see some more things such as fit outs of stations and further train testing. One thing I'll also add is that screens for passenger information have also been installed at basically every single station along the line, and from what I can see they are also on and working, which means that they are beginning to test screens and hopefully announcements soon to get ready for further high frequency metro testing. And that's a detailed summary of everything you need to know in November of 2025 with the Bankstown Line Sydney Metro conversion upgrade. Even though they did promise only a year of closure and that technically by now the line should have been opened, we do still have to wait another year, which, to be fair, I do kind of feel like I predicted that, as I remember when the line closed in September of 2024, I was beginning to think that I don't think it would exactly take 1 year. Anyways, I'm now going to end off the video with some exclusive footage that I took during the Transport Heritage Expo 2025 of a ride along the goods line, which is not seen with passenger services. However, this was a heritage tour, and we were able to go right alongside the Bankstown Metro line. No testing trains, as it was a weekend and long weekend as well. However, I was able to get a really good look at some of the stations, such as Marrickville, which you'll see in this video here. Another bit of footage that I have as well is of a metro train. I'm not aware of what set it was, however I do know it was not set 28, which is the usual train that tests along the line, so that was quite cool. And I was able to see it coming out of Marrickville, and this was at the 25km/h speed. So this is as of recent, in the past few weeks, so you're able to really see the speed of the metro train, and you can also hear the motor really start to get louder as the train goes faster. And that is all for this video on the update on the Bankstown Sydney Metro Line extension for November of 2025. I hope to provide a new update in a few months, and it will become much more frequent as we see further testing and fitting out of the line, and hopefully some open days in the near future. Let me know your thoughts on the new Sydney Metro Bankstown line and when you think the line might open. As officially announced by Sydney Metro during the time that I was actually editing this video, it is appearing that they might be trying to get the line open by September of 2026, meaning that we are just under 1 year away from the opening of the Bankstown line. Come back to this video at the time that this line opens, and let's see when it actually opens and if I was right or not. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.